Well, if you're at all like me, you're probably really tired of having to sweep up a bunch of BBs after doing testing and tuning in your home or apartment. In fact, I'd almost wager that this significantly decreases the enjoyment of the sport at home during the off-season, is having to clean up your own mess after you BTFO whatever box happens to be around. So today, I am going to be teaching you how to build a cheap target trap at home that will allow you to shoot to your heart's content, collect all your BBs, and leave practically no mess, as well as protecting your walls. As you can kind of see, cardboard boxes, even with filling, only go so far. So, what we're going to do is replace this god-awful situation with a proper target trap. Welcome to the basement of doom. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the process. So you're going to build yourself a target trap. You're going to need a few things, gather them. You're going to need a drill, a bit, some sort of marking pen, some zip ties, which I'm sure you have, one of these guys, little sort of box cutter. If you want to be a real straight edge, get a straight edge. Make it look neat and tidy. An old towel or chunk of cloth, basically something that's going to absorb the impact of multiple airsoft rounds without fragmenting. That's kind of the important thing. And obviously, one of these guys, which will form kind of the frame of your target trap. So first thing you're going to do is lay out your old towel or whatnot, kind of fold it so that it's at the point, give or take, where it's just shy of the bottom of the container. So basically, when you want to shake out your target trap, when you want to empty it, what you don't want is the towel touching the bottom of the target trap, because it's going to hold a bunch of BBs and it's just going to be kind of messy. But if you restrict it to 3/4 length, what's going to happen is they'll all drop out, and when you shake out your target trap, you won't have to deal with the towel. It'll just kind of hang there, which is really kind of important. So first thing we're going to do is prep our target. And you'll probably want to go about to the 1/3 mark, give or take, and mark that out. That's probably not even straight, is it? No, that's okay. I'm going to mark a couple other spots as well. Now I pre-marked this just for ease, but I'm going to put 2 marks here, here, in this orientation, and here. And we're going to get our drill. And knock a couple holes in. 6 to be exact. Yeah, you stay there. Great thing about doing it like this, your trap retains most of the mess of fabrication. Yeah, really quite nice. Okay. Okay, so we've got that drilled. We're going to set that out of the way. And now we're going to cut this guy out. Wish me luck. Hopefully there won't be any blood. Watch your eyes. There we go. Alright, so not only did I not die and not cut myself, I did manage to get this cut relatively neatly, which isn't that important. And you'll note I've also drilled one more hole here, which I kind of thought of after the fact. And this will be kind of important later. I'll show you that. So, here we have our target bin with our zip ties. And we also have our old towel, which after being sort of folded into quarters, I've torn some holes through in 3 spots, sort of at the center and the outer. And what we're going to do is just go ahead and zip tie through these holes into these. So let's go ahead and get that passed through. Whoa, come on. I mean, you could just go buy a target trap for $100, but you know, this is like $13, maybe tops, including an old towel. So That's like 90 bucks you could spend on ammo or something like that if you really wanted to, which I think is a pretty good savings. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here, or at least you can think about what I'm doing. So basically what I've done is zip tied this in as an intermediate break with all of its various layers. And what that's going to do when it's in a vertical position is kind of hang like this, and it's going to absorb any BB sort of impact energy without hopefully passing a bunch through to the back of the bin. Even then, the back of the bin is pretty robust and it shouldn't mess things up. So, with that hanging there like that, what we're going to do is install our lid now. And toss a zip tie into that. And what this will allow you to do is kind of dump it out, keeping the lid attached so it doesn't just like flop off. As well, when you're in the vertical position, it's not going to fall off. You can still very easily dump your target trap. Okay. So that is a constructed target trap for $13, and we're going to test it out now and see how we did versus the huge mess that was created by the other boxes. Alright, so the day of reckoning is upon us. So we're going to test out our bin. Full disclosure, I did end up testing it prior to this just to make sure I wasn't going to embarrass myself. I kind of did. Note to the builder of these bins, try and get a lid that's a little bit more resilient, or buy an extra couple lids for a couple bucks, because if you miss, you're going to make a couple holes. But anyway, getting back to it, we're going to do a test, and we're going to see how this works for you, so you can have some confidence in what you built. So we're going to do a test today with two fairly common weapons, 2011 Tokyo Marie, shooting at about 280 feet per second, and everyone's favorite Toyota Camry of guns, the CM16 Combat Machine by G&G. This one has been upgraded with a tight bore and a different bucking and a couple other things. It's shooting at about 350, which it may be low, it may not be, but for our test it's going to be perfect. And the ammo we're going to be using is Griffin Airsoft, high precision, quote-unquote, Bio BBs. James down at B2 sells these, and I think it's the only place in the city where you can buy really like big quantities of BBs for a good price. For 28s, I paid $100 for 20,000 rounds, and I think the great thing is that if you go to a lighter round, the cost does go down, so it's not a blanket cost depending on what weight you're shooting. So if you're doing a lot of CQB, you could buy 20s for a little bit less and probably get away scot-free. So anyway, I'm going to get loaded up, and the next footage you see will be the test of the bin. Fingers crossed we don't blast through it and ruin any more of my wall. And because semi-boring. Yep. Well, there we are. $13, about an hour of your time, and you have yourself a target trap that should last for quite some time, provided you don't shoot the lid out with poor aiming. Word to the wise, as I said before, you might want to buy an extra couple lids or find something that's a little bit more rubberized, because this will not last if you put a bunch of rounds through it. But hey, 13 plus $2 for another lid is only 15, which gives you another, quite a bit of money to go and spend on, let's say, some gear or some ammo or, basically just about anything like that. So thanks for joining me for this Tech Tuesday. I hope it was informative, and with positive results and positive feedback, I'll try and do a few more of these as we go along.